Hey, Well Read Baddies. Welcome back to another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Sarah.
And today, I never know what to say here. I'm just like, and today
is a day.
It's a day. It is a day.
It is a day.
It is a day. A
And
new
we're
day.
here.
And we're here. I'm gonna have to come up with some because every time I'm just like, make some shit up.
And we're back. Right.
And we're
Figure
back.
it out.
Figure it
just on
out.
the spot.
Mm-hmm.
You
All
do
right.
a good job.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I be trying. All right. Shout out corner. Follow us everywhere at She Well Read. Subscribe to our You of the Tube and leave comments on our videos. The Titty, for those of you who don't know what that is, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. That's where we are most active on socials, and we are everywhere at She Well Read, as I said before. Patreon, become a Patreon subscriber. We have decided that mid-month is when we're going to do your calls with us. So make sure you subscribe to the Patreon, and also the first mini-sode will be available soon. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be releasing polls
Exciting.
on topics that we can talk about that you guys can vote on. So yeah, hit us up on Patreon. I have the link. I mean, the links of everything is everywhere.
Y'all know the drill.
Right. And also share the show with a friend.
Yeah. Maybe one with mommy issues.
Yeah. They could definitely benefit from this conversation. Be a
Or
part of
daddy
this.
issues at this point.
Parental issues.
Just trauma. Childhood trauma.
Childhood
and we all
trauma.
have it. So
Mm-hmm.
really, you can send
Everybody.
it to anybody.
Right. Everybody has childhood. God, so sad. Okay, coffee break. The Met Gala.
Yeah.
I had to be dramatic.
I love it. I know people have very controversial opinions about it. Do we love
Yeah.
it? Do we hate it? Do we not care? It's boring. Whatever. But it's just fun for me.
Yeah, I have grown to like the Met Gala. Like before, I was one of those people like, I don't give a fuck. Like I really don't care.
I think growing up, I didn't know it existed.
That too.
I wasn't in that world.
Right.
But at some point, it came on my radar.
All of a sudden, it's like, have you noticed there's a lot of things like that where like now we're adults and I'm like, I didn't know about this when I was a kid, but like it was around. I just didn't know about it.
I don't know what else.
There's been things.
Yeah, but I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. Yeah. Even like holidays. Like as a kid, I was like, why do we have so many holidays? Now as an adult, I'm like, we need holidays. I'm like, we need days where we can really just like sit down and reflect on things.
Yeah.
Because in life, it's just so much going on all the
Right.
time. So it's nice to have a designated day.
Facts. I never thought about that either.
I don't know, weird things you start appreciating as an adult. I was like, why is
Facts.
everybody wearing green? Like, why do we really care? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I guess it's like, I mean, I still don't care about St. Patrick's Day for real. But
I like to drink.
Yes, any excuse to like go to the bar, have a good time,
Right.
to celebrate anything.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love to see
it's
it.
like socially accepted. Like we're all gonna go get drunk
Right.
this evening.
Mm-hmm. Or even like Cinco de Mayo's coming up.
I know, I'm excited.
She said another one.
Yeah! 2 more days. Oh, and it's on a Friday.
It's on a Friday.
What are we doing?
I don't know. I have a hair appointment. We'll talk about this after.
Oh, you got plans out the ass. Nobody can hang out with Lana. She's booked and busy.
Listen, that's the summertime though. I feel okay. Met Gala. That's what we're talking about. Rabbit hole.
Okay, so Karl Lagerfeld was
Boo.
the period. He was the like
Inspiration.
Muse.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've heard people say like he's known for being fat phobic and
Racist.
I think racist as well.
Misogynistic.
Misogynistic, even anti like gay. And he was, I'm pretty sure, gay. So he was a walking hypocrite. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I guess it's his designs, I'll say his designs at Chanel, because he worked at Chanel, he worked at Fendi, he worked other places. I don't know. I don't know this man.
Yeah.
I don't know this man, but he did come out with like, I guess the tweed Chanel suits that are still so relevant today.
Yeah, he like
created
changed
a bunch of
Chanel.
stuff. Yeah, he did. And like we can still see the significance of that today. So I mean, I can respect his work.
Right. It kind of reminded me of like conversations where we've had of separating the art from the person.
Very much so.
But you know, as of everything in pop culture, there's some discourse, especially when it's a problematic person technically being celebrated.
And then you've got all these people who are like, quote unquote, woke,
Mm-hmm.
going there and just singing his praises.
Right.
I was watching a few interviews and I was like, I haven't heard anybody mention the fact that Carl was controversial.
But
And
you know,
I'm sure if you say something negative, like Anna's gonna cut you from the next Met. So I feel like if you are there, like you almost can't say anything, but like you should be able to at the same time.
right. I felt there was a lot of, because I watched some interviews too, and like particularly I'm thinking of Cardi B's where they like danced around it when that question was asked, where it was like, I think the reporter asked her, like, if you could tell Carl or ask Karl Lagerfeld anything or whatever, she was like, to give me a discount at Chanel because I spend so much money with them.
That's smart.
Right. I was like, she's got a great PR team.
Yeah, because there's a lot we could say to this man. Like,
Right.
You're canceled.
Right. Or like Jamila Jamil, who was saying, you know, a lot of the quote unquote feminists who were at the Met Gala, who say they're like pro-feminist and like whatever, but you're there celebrating this man who is XYZ, all the things that we just talked about.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you really?
There were a few people I saw that sat out, but like not many.
Yeah. Or somebody, because I remember somebody quote tweeted Jamila Jamil, and was like, "Is this?" It is. It froze. Well, it didn't roll off the tongue for me, but it is beautiful. They were like, "Oh, maybe this is why Blake Lively sat out this year."
Good for Blake Lively.
We don't really know why she sat out
Honestly,
this year, but
who knows?
right.
I do think when you reach a certain level of status, like you don't really have to go. Like Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like anybody who's like A++ list, you don't really see them there. It's more
Right.
like the A-listers.
Right.
And the B-listers.
But I did notice a shakeout from last year to this year. There were a lot less influencers, and I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, because y'all weren't giving nothing.
It was giving nothing.
So if you're going to show up and like be so worried about what people are going to think that you show up in a boring, basic outfit, like, you know, you had your moment and it was last year and we didn't see anything that was missing. Like we're not missing anything
Yeah.
from the Charlie D'Amelios of the world or whoever the fuck the new girls are.
Yeah, no, it's not giving at all. And there was some conversation around that too, like how Anna was really cracking down on guest lists this year because of them being so many influencers last year. Like she was like, we've got to tighten this up and make this,
She said this
more
is
exclusive. Right. Bring back exclusivity.
I agree with you on that one, Anna.
Yeah.
Did you say blah, blah, blah?
We can't talk today. That's it.
Oh Lord, Lord Jesus! Did you see she soft launched or I guess hard?
Yeah,
launched
her man. I was like,
jinx, because girl, what the fuck?
hello.
Like this is so
but
fucking random.
the Met to soft launch a relationship.
She said, "This is my show."
Iconic actually. Or did you see the roach? All the and somebody like added Lil Roach and was like, "You're here," and he was like, "Please."
Wasn't he there though? For real?
I don't know. I don't think he was there
Oh,
because I don't think any of his girls were there. Like Meg wasn't there, Zendaya wasn't there.
Oh, power.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot happening at the gala. Like, well, okay, let's wrap it with what was your favorite look
Oh.
or top 3? Because I know it's hard because people were serving this year. Okay.
Yes, I think Cardi's the one with the tuxedo top. That one was really great. I thought I don't know. Erica was like so low key, I feel.
Badu.
I
I didn't even know she was there until I saw her on your story.
I had to go look. 'Cause I didn't see her at all, but she was hidden.
Yeah, literally.
I liked what she did. But yeah, I don't know. Who else? It's like I posted so many people at this point. It's like a blur.
Yeah, I said Cardi was definitely in my top 3.
For sure.
For sure.
The black girls were They won.
We won.
And that's what I'm here for.
Right. At the end of the day, that's the story.
We got 3 different outfits from Cardi.
Mm-hmm.
Plus
I love
the after party, I think.
Yeah, she did change again.
Bam.
I like Janelle Monáe, even though it was very controversial. I loved it.
Yeah, there was like another part to the outfit that I didn't see, and it was like bubble air energy.
Yep.
Sickening.
Yeah.
She does not miss, and she was wearing Tom Brown.
He
did not
Tom
miss.
Brown was the Met this year.
He truly was.
He really served all of their looks.
Whoever. Is it Tom Brown? Like, I don't know who's designing it.
Yeah, Tom Brown is the designer.
A period. Yeah, he killed it. He did. I'm trying to think of other people that really slayed. Anoke, whatever her last name is.
Yes.
Bro, she was glowing.
Absolutely gave.
Absolutely served.
Yes.
Stunning.
I actually kind of like J-Lo's look too.
The girl didn't see her.
I'm gonna send it.
Okay, what'd she wear?
It was like this like pink moment, but like black, and it was like velvet.
Ooh.
In like gloves. I really enjoyed it.
She doesn't ever really give to me, so I'm interested to see what she pulled up in.
It was giving elegant. I feel like a lot of people were like this Met Gala was elegance. I feel like
it was
Doja.
Doja
Doja
She fucking ate, and she made
did.
Jared Leto look dumb.
Because
he pulled up in
but
the
it was funny.
toupee.
But it was funny.
It was giving mascot, babe.
But he had an actual outfit
Underneath.
Yeah. Like it wasn't just he just was wearing that mascot costume all night. He like
I really thought
took
he
it
was.
No, he took it off on the carpet and like had an actual look. But it was like an ode to him.
Rihanna. Yeah. Sorry, Rihanna and ASAP. I loved it. I know it's controversial.
It was pretty,
but it wasn't exciting.
Yeah, it wasn't very exciting. Now I know ASAP was like an ode to like the picture of Carl and kind of like the same similar outfit.
That was cool.
So I got that, but it was just like I've had more favorite looks in past Met Galas from her. Yeah,
sure.
but she mentioned and said like it was very last minute. Yeah. Like Valentino threw it together for her.
Period.
Even though she said it took 30 hours for each flower that was on her little like hood jacket thing. So yeah.
Okay. Last minute, aka 3 months.
But there's probably multiple people working on it.
Oh, so
true. Like 30 hours a person. You know what I mean?
So they could have done it a little quicker.
Yeah, right.
It is insane how much work goes into these outfits. AI can't do that.
Facts. You know what AI did though? Somebody thought Zendaya was there because they put her face on. I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Rita Ora. Oh. It made it look like Zendaya was at the Met Gala, but she was not.
That's so funny and scary.
All at the same time. We're gonna have to have a copy break on AI. Just AI. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on the Met Gala. Who wore your favorite looks? What were your favorite moments of the night? Email us at shewillread@gmail.com. I feel like I haven't sent the email in a while, so email us or DM us, whatever's easier. But let's get into the chapter. I'm always like,
I know. If I feel you look at me, I'm like, okay, this is the moment.
Happening. I'm sweet. All right, let's get into it.
Woo! I got no notes. I read this a few hours ago, so it's fresh.
Weak. Oh, it's like fresh. Yeah, I read this yesterday, but like, it's still this, and also I know it's trigger warning over the entire season, but like really trigger warning on like these first couple chapters that we're about to go over because it gets very intense in graphic detail. So this is your time if you want to skip forward. Maybe like 10-15 minutes. This is your warning to do so.
Does it get much better?
I feel like it's pretty intense the first couple, and then it kind. It's still intense, but fair. Like it kind of like goes back to our regular scheduled programming,
like what we came for.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This was wild.
It was very wild. Chapter 43. So Jeanette is at Six Flags with the iCarly crew. And she is
fun, right?
Right. You would think by the first 2 sentences. And then we meet her coworker Joe, who keeps touching her, and she's like, is this on accident or is this on purpose? We find out it's on purpose. These are intentional touches and moments. And she says, I say nothing because the truth is it feels nice. The truth is I want him to touch me like this. Because, you know, she's found out, like, you know, that tingly feeling you get.
She's had her sexual awakening.
Yeah, she's having a sexual awakening.
She said, I'm actually a whore now. So keep on
coming on. And she says the relationship is really flirty for the first few months. And Joe and her are talking about like their favorite movies. And she just really wants to impress him because he's older. And we find out just how old Joe is. Joe, everybody, is 30.
These niggas are wild.
Yeah. And I want to say he's like 32 and she's 18.
Yeah, this is almost illegal.
Like,
should be,
but it's like just off the cuff of not being illegal anymore.
And that's fair enough. Yeah.
But she just keeps talking about like these moments that they touch. And she talks about that kiss with Lucas she had in the last chapter, but now it's just like, and this is like more romantic though. This feels better. She says, my whole body tingles when his hand lands on my back. The sensation is exhilarating and overwhelming and scary. In this moment, I know that one way or another, we're going to be together. So she is now infatuated with this man.
That been there, Jeanette. Not with a man that old, but I remember getting touched and being like, oh, this is that
like this is happening.
Yeah. But not only is he 30, but he has a girlfriend.
Which I think that's in the we find that out in this next chapter.
Oh no.
We're in it now?
First paragraph of the chapter.
Oh, at first I couldn't tell if it was an accident since I know he's in his 30s and has a girlfriend. You're so right. I thought that was next. Yeah.
It does come back around. But yeah, she like wants to impress him so badly. She's like, he's so much cooler and older and wiser. And it's giving, this is why I said daddy issues earlier, because it's not like she necessarily has daddy issues that I thought, but her affinity for these older men, or maybe their affinity for her, and her accepting of it,
or maybe not naivety.
Naive, yeah.
Is that how you say that? Like just being naive.
It's like they're the ones coming to me. Like, you know, I do feel like a lot of girls who do date older men when they're young are like the men approach them. It's not like they were like, oh, I'm a bag you. It's like this dude
more often
makes
than
them
not
fall in love with them.
Yeah.
I mean, not makes them, but like
does
it's
the certain
bound
things
to happen when it's like
they know what they're doing because they're more mature and know what to do.
They know,
like psychologically.
You're just like, oh my god, like attention.
Right. Ooh, nasty stuff. All right, chapter 44.
All right, guys. So we are kind of starting in a weird place. I don't think that Jeanette's ever really lied. Well, no. I was about to say she's never really lied to her mom, but she stays lying to her mom. But this has felt more...
It was different.
It felt deeper, yeah. So she is basically telling her mom that her and Miranda are going to have a sleepover, and that is why she, I guess, has to leave. And her mom, you know, is living with her. So she's basically like trying to escape her mom. And she also mentions that they've been sleeping in the same bed with each other for the past, since they moved she moved, but then her mom, you know the story.
Right.
Her mom is basically her roommate. Not only that, they sleep together
in the same bed. And
her mom likes to like clutch her through the night. So Jeanette's like kind of over it. She's like, I need to get out of here. And tonight is the night that me and Joe are hanging out. And she's booked a hotel room. And so she's like, I got to get out of here, Mom. And her mom's like, please don't leave me. I need you tonight. And she's like, look, like my mom's never going to allow me to go and stay with this man. So I have to. So she's like, look, me and Miranda have been planning this for a while. And I'll be back tomorrow. Like, it's not like I'm going to be gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of, Jeanette notices she like is glazed off, looking into the distance, almost like dissociating is what Jeanette feels like it's happening. And then she snaps back and looks at Jeanette and just starts attacking her, basically. And this reminded me of like the way she almost attacks her husband, Jeanette's dad. Just because she does get snappy with Jeanette in certain situations, but she's never like really yelled at her this way. And so,
or like, even like she says, she picks the TV remote up off the coffee table and chucks it at her head. Like,
yeah, she snaps and gets very angry and literally throws something at Jeanette. And she starts calling Jeanette a liar. She's literally like, you are lying to me. I feel it in my bones. Like, you know how moms be feeling things. And she's not wrong. But the way she handled it is not the best. She calls Jeanette a filthy little lying whore. And Jeanette says, Mom has never been this harsh with me. And she basically just threatens her and is like, I'm going to be able to sniff whatever it is off you tomorrow. So just know, you think you're getting away with this, but I'm going to figure it out.
Right. And like, her dad apparently is there and she's like, right, Mark? Like being like, be on my side with it. And he's just like, yeah, okay. Like,
still being a prop.
Right.
Because honestly, we didn't know he was there.
Right. This whole time, right. Until she said, right, Mark. And I was like, oh, her dad's here? Hello?
So she leaves. And anyway, she's got this like really nervous sinking feeling in her stomach, because that is her mom at the end of the day. Like, I don't know if anyone listening has had a really big fight with their parents, but it doesn't ever feel the best.
Right.
Okay, so now Joe's picking her up, and he is, well, at first it just says that there's a sweet rotten smell radiating off of him, and so I was kind of confused. But we learned that Joe is drunk, and this is not uncommon for this man. And we learned that he has just broke up with his girlfriend. And so Jeanette's kind of like, they're supposed to have this romantic night. They planned this all out. And so she asks, did you do it? And he said, yeah, I broke up with her. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. And his words are slurring. And he just is being really passive aggressive. She's asking like, okay, how are you? And he's like, how do you think I am? And he feels bad. She can tell, like, for not being the nicest, but, you know, he's already drunk. There's nothing he can change. And it seems like Jeanette knows this side of him, which I thought was kind of a bad sign. And he's driving her to the Sheraton where she booked them a room. And she's a little worried about him driving just because, you know, he's drunk. But she doesn't want to bring it up because she doesn't want to make him a little bit more mad or more upset than he already is. So he's like stumbling into the room, can't even get the key in. And Jeanette grabs it, you know, is sober, so she easily does it. And he's like, I could have done it. And I'm like, oh my God.
Please shut up.
Like, shut up.
Like, be so fucking for real.
So he gets into the hotel room and just starts sobbing and is so upset, which is just so upsetting at this point. Jeanette's already had a bad moment with her mom trying to like get here, and he's upset. So she is like trying to console him, but he's like very upset about his girlfriend, who apparently he was going to marry, and they've been together 5 years, and he doesn't seem to be that happy with this decision that he has made.
I'm glad you like emphasized he made this
like
decision.
You were already cheating on your girlfriend, so you didn't really care about her. So honestly, he just seems like a pussy to me.
And it's that thing that like those type of men try to do, where it's like, it's fun when it's the cat and mouse game, when it's like, oh, we're not supposed to be doing this,
right?
And like that type of environment, to when they like
exciting.
Right. Who, when it's like, oh, like this is real now.
Like now you're in it and you have to live with the decision you made.
Right.
And he's realizing like Jeanette is fucking 18.
Right. And like, because, you know, she mentions, or he yells like, you won't even have sex with me.
Oh, right. Like, which is so, hello?
Yeah.
She's like, I thought you wanted this, you know? And she is like, I'm still not gonna have sex with you. And she feels good that she, you know, is sticking to her guns. And he's like, well, can you at least give me a blowjob?
And I was reading this, I was like, I know where this is. Like, I know where we're going, and I hate it here.
I know. He's like manipulating her too. Everybody's manipulating Jeanette.
Right. And it's like, she doesn't, like, she knows better, but she doesn't. It's almost like she can't do better because this is all she knows. It's like what she's comfortable with.
Very true. Very true. So she is like, no, but we can make out. And he's like, I'm fucking 30. I don't want to make out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is where he's like, I'm 32 years old. I was like, yeah.
Oh, 32.
But like,
I'm sorry. That was funny. I mean, it's so awful, the situation, but like, nigga, you are dumb.
right. You're stupid.
I think at 30, I'm only a few years away. I'm going to enjoy a good makeout. So,
Well, not only that, but it's like, you're like, okay, she's 18, but like, she's not experienced. Like, you're expecting all of this out of someone who's like, doesn't, it's just,
you knew who she was.
Right. It's just not giving,
It's
I have so many words that like,
want to make this, if you wanted to be with your girl who I guess fucks and gives blowjobs, like, go
you should have stayed with her.
Like, why are you with me, bro?
Exactly.
So anyway, he's just kind of realizing and saying that you're too young for me. This isn't going to work. And so Jeanette is like desperate and is like, okay, I'll do it. Which was his plan all along.
Right. The manipulation game.
So he whips out his penis and she looks at it for a long time, which I thought was funny.
Like, just like, what do I do right now?
She's like, what am I supposed to do? I've never done this before. And he's like, yeah, it's not a turn on when you say shit like that.
That made me want to stab his dick. I like wanted to chop it up in that moment.
Very condescending. And I think that she's so young that she's like accepting this because she does, like you said, doesn't know better. But she's literally so desperate to be with him. So she just dives into it and starts trying to like rub and suck, and like she's like, I need direction. And he finally does give her some, and he's like, I'm about to finish, speed it up. And she's like, great, thanks. She's like, I'm an actor, I'm nothing without direction. So all of a sudden something comes out, no pun intended, and it tastes like warm liquid plastic, which
that's how she describes it.
I don't know if anyone else has ever tasted cum for the first time, but accurate. Like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, something came out. Oh my God, something just came out. He's like, yeah, it's cum. And he's like super annoyed. Like, I guess that post-nut clarity as well. And he literally turns away and is just like, oh my God, what have I done?
Because she's like, what's cum? Kind of like
a baby. And he's 32.
Yeah.
So he's really feeling his mistakes, which is just not a good place to be. But look at where we are now, 45.
Right, chapter 45. Aloha. That's how it starts. They are at the Four Seasons Resort in Maui because it's her and Joe. Because
still together. I didn't think they were going to make it, to be honest.
I didn't either. I thought that was going to be the end of Joe, like it was for the other guy. But no, we're still here.
I thought the nut lay around his neck was like too soon. I was like, I do not want to think about this man nutting ever again.
They're checking into the hotel, and she's frustrated because everybody keeps addressing Joe because obviously they're age different, but she's like, no, this is for me. This is under my name. And she's like, granted, it's not me doing it. It's Nickelodeon because it's a gift for all the hard work they've been doing on iCarly.
Okay, Nickelodeon.
Right. I was like, so weak.
They got a Groupon.
So they were gifted 4 nights and 5 days at the Four Seasons Resort Maui
Sickening.
for the cast members and one guest. I was like, oh, that's lit.
It could have been her mom. That's what I was thinking. Her mom literally got cancer.
Right. That
But she
right.
couldn't come because of cancer.
You like took all the words out of my mouth.
I was like, wow, ideally it would be so cool if that could be like their last trip together.
Mm-mm.
But no, yeah, she probably, yeah.
But yeah, so we get a relationship check. She said, of course my guess is Joe. We've been together for a year at this point.
All right.
And she's like, sure, 50% of the time it's chaotic and tumultuous. Joe's drunk and I'm hysterical, and Joe's upset and I'm too possessive, and I'm upset that Joe's gotten back into debt 3 weeks after I paid it off for him. But the other 50% of the time, things are great.
Which just goes to show you, she's comparing this to her parents' relationship, and she's like, well, I mean, we're having more fun than they did. Like, they only used to fight and scream at each other. So, like, this to me just goes to show in plain English, like, it is better to get divorced and be alone than to be in an unhealthy relationship where your kid is, like, understanding love as what you have if your love is toxic, because you just accept not good stuff and you think this is just as good as it gets,
right? And it's like, yes, it is normal for couples to fight and get into arguments, and I do think there's a healthy level of kids seeing that and not seeing their parents being perfect all the time.
Correct.
But this is like a whole nother level
Yeah.
of like that. This is like the end that you don't want to be on of the spectrum of that. But yeah, like you said, like this is a result of that, like like the result of a child seeing that.
Yeah. So upsetting.
Very upsetting. And so they're in their hotel room, they're having fun, they're laughing a lot. She feels like the relationship looks and feels like a huge step up, like you said, from her relationship's parents. And we get information that her mom has moved out of the apartment a few months ago to be closer to her oncologist because she's going pretty much daily appointments now. And she's not doing country music anymore, which I thought was kind of funny. And she's worried about how she's going to get through this vacation without her mom finding out. Because what we found out in the chapter previously, we didn't really talk about it, but her mom is okay with her being around Mormon boys or gay men.
Energy.
And nothing in between. And so she decides to tell her mom that she's with Colton, who is her gay friend that she approves of, because, I quote, there's no way his penis is entering me.
You gotta love it.
Right. And so they're on 3-way calls with her mom to, make it look real that Colton's on this vacation with her.
The lie is lying.
Yeah, she mentions, I feel the wedge between mom and I growing by the day. With every lie she tells, she's slipping further and further away. And she's just really confused by it and doesn't really know what to do, because it's like she knows what's going to happen if she tells the truth, and it's almost better to lie, but it still doesn't make the lying feel better. It's a fucked up situation. Yeah. And so they're 3 days into the vacation, plans going smoothly, and in the late afternoon, her and Joe go paddleboarding on the beach in front of the hotel, and they get caught by a paparazzi. And she's freaking out. She's like, this is a disaster. They swim to the sand and they're like running to the back entrance of the hotel, and just constantly the paparazzi snapping pictures. By the time they're in the room, she's panicking. She's rattling all the ways that her mom's like going to see this and all the things she's going to say and all the things she's going to do, and just like hyperventilating, having an anxiety attack at this moment. And Joe unsuccessfully is trying to keep her calm.
Joe actually was winning some of my favor in this chapter.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that the good 50% is shining through right now.
Period.
But I still don't like you.
He was trying to help her.
Yeah, and so she just brushes it off for the night and goes to sleep. And when she wakes up in the morning, she turns over her phone to 37 missed calls from her mom, 16 voicemails, and 4 missed emails, which also check. They no longer share an account. She recently created her own thanks to Joe's encouragement. So we see those dips
Joe.
of like the 50% of why she's staying with Joe.
He has
it's like slightly better.
to him,
Yeah.
even if he is a fucking creep.
Right. And so she opens the top email, which I remember her reading this email on a clip that I watched when she did an interview on Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith. It was this exact same email. So like watching this play out and like now knowing who it was like a surreal moment reading it.
Oh my God, you're right.
So I'm going to read it to y'all just so if you haven't seen the clip or anything like that. It says, "Dear Nat, I am so disappointed in you. You used to be my perfect little angel, but now you are nothing more than a little slut. A floozy, all used up. And to think you wasted it on that hideous ogre of a man. I saw the pictures on a website called TMZ, which I was like, LOL, the early days with TMZ. So she said, I saw you in Hawaii with him. I saw you rubbing his disgusting hair stomach. I knew you were lying about Colton, and add that to the list of things you are. Liar, conniving, evil. You look pudgier too. It's clear you're eating your guilt. Thinking of you with his ding-dong inside of you makes me sick. Sick. I raised you better than this. What happened to my good little girl? Where did she go? And who is this monster that has replaced her? You're an ugly monster now. I told your brothers about you, and they all said they disown you, just like I do. I want nothing to do with you. Love, Mom. Or should I say Deb, since I'm no longer your mother. P.S. Send money for a new fridge. Ours broke."
I'm sorry, but she cracked me up when she said, or should I say Deb?
It's the manipulation for me. God, she's a terrible human being.
Oh my God. But this did kind of spark something in me when you were reading it, because I think a lot of people, maybe not, they don't send emails like this, but a lot of people tell you you're used up when you're literally dating. And if you want to have sex with people and you're a woman, it's like you're like giving away your special seed. And if you give it away too many times, there's nothing good in you that a man will ever want. Like,
which I feel like there is a better way to have that conversation, because like sex, to me, and this is my personal opinion, I do think sex is a serious thing. Like having sex, like
it is.
It's a serious decision that
Amen.
you're making.
Amen.
And doing it with the right person and your own timing is very important, and knowing what you're getting yourself into. That, all right, having that conversation with somebody, I agree with. But like you said, there's those people who are like, you're a slut, you're just giving it up and giving yourself away, and like, that's not doing any good here.
No.
And it's like shaming sex, which
So
sex is not something that should be shamed. And like you're almost
Speak
bullied
on it.
into fear mongering. That's the word.
Speak on it.
I digress. She hunches over and of course is sobbing. And Joe's trying to comfort her. She's not okay. She's like, maybe she's right. Maybe I've lost my way. Maybe I am this evil monster. Like getting those thoughts like in her, and like now she's starting to believe it.
It'd be like that.
And Joe's trying to be like, you can't let her get to you like this. And, she picks up the phone and types in TMZ to the search. And Joe's like, that's not a good idea. Like, you don't want to look at the pictures. Like, this is not a good plan. And she says, she's right. I look awful. My body and my face repulse me. I do look pudgy. And she talks about her relationship with wearing bikinis and one pieces and how she hates them. She wish she was flat chested and less curvy, and like all of these like negative body image thoughts that she has about herself. And she says, my tears are replaced by my venomous self-loathing. And Joe is shifting this shift in her. And so he takes her phone and locks it away so she can't look at it. Which, like you said, it's like, I don't like this man, but like,
you kind of did that.
you're right. Like, all right, I can give you that.
I mean, he is 32, so he has a lot more life experience. I'm not going to give him too much.
Right. Not too much.
That's the least you could do.
Right. And
Giving
so
like father figure though.
it's just disgusting. But over the next 2 days, her phone stays in the safe, and they're leaving Hawaii now. So she's looking at her phone again. It's the last morning of the trip. Her mom's still blowing her up, and she wrote another email that's titled Letter to Your Fans, where basically her mom says that she's going to get her fans like on her mom's side and have her fans see Jeanette as her mom sees Jeanette.
I was like, be fucking for real, bitch.
Right. And she even says things like, you caused my cancer to come back. You have to live with the fact that you gave me cancer, which is like, just like putting in the knife and like turning it.
Yes. Very real. I think when you're in like a vulnerable situation, people's manipulations can be like that much more. Like people join cults when they're in situations where they're like feel like they've lost their way. It's like when you're the most influential. I don't know if that's the, like, y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
So her mom does know what she's doing, and you're very right, because her lying to her mom, her having sex, it's not giving her mom cancer.
Right.
It's just not.
It's not a correlation.
No.
But that's what her mom wants her to believe. And so she drafts a response to her asking if they can sit down and talk about, which I thought was a very mature thing right here that Jeanette's doing. She's like, listen, let's sit down and talk about this, adult to adult. And she clicks her phone off once she sends it, puts it in Joe's pocket, and he asks what she said, and she's like, tells him nothing. She's really just numb and catatonic at this point. In the entire plane ride, she doesn't say a word. Over the past few years, she mentions again that her and her mom have grown apart in a way that she never thought possible, because, you know, it's always been her and her mom against the world.
They were so connected.
And she's like, why can't she admit that she's dying? Why can't that she just admit to the reality of our situation and make this real? And she said there seems to be more hate than love for each other right now, but maybe that's just because they're both scared.
I thought that was so insightful.
Very insightful. And because, you know, as we're reading this, I'm realizing that there's parts of Jeanette where it's like she's tuning into like the person she was when this was happening, but also mixing in the person that she is now into her writing, and like
I completely agree.
interpreting what that Jeanette was feeling and thinking, like in a more mature way now.
That's so real.
Which I really enjoy in this writing.
Oh, okay. Because I was just thinking that she maybe thought this like in the moment.
I think it's like a mix of both, where like she can finally like put her thoughts into words more maturely.
I love it. She said, can I just read that last sentence of that paragraph?
Yeah.
She said, maybe we're just letting this wedge between us grow, because deep down we both know that soon enough this wedge will be out of our control. And I just was like, wow, oh shit.
Right, because
I could totally see how that it would be the case.
And so the plane lands, and she gets a response from her mom that says, sure, we can meet up. P.S. Reminder to send fridge money. Our yogurt has soured.
Babe, where's all the money that you have been getting from her? You didn't save any of it.
Anywho, on to 46.
All right.
The meetup.
The meetup. Okay, so they are at Panda Express, and it's her mom's birthday dinner. So her mom asks her at her fucking birthday dinner if Jeanette will sing Wind Beneath My Wings at her funeral. And Jeanette's like a little taken aback, because they usually act like things aren't happening, and their like new way of communicating is just being like cordial and like small talk and nothing that's gonna be intense.
Yeah, nothing substantial.
Exactly. And so her mom's cancer falls under one of the things they just don't talk about. So the fact that she is bringing this up right now, Jeanette's like, and her mom's just like going right into it. She's like, you've got to do it with emotion. You've got to believe your words. If it won't work if you're only giving 50%. Jeanette's like in her head, like, I have not agreed to sing. And her mom's like, let me hear you try it. And they're in the Panda Express, guys.
We're getting her old mom back in this moment, I feel.
Very true. Her mom's like, just do it, basically, and just try it. And so Jeanette's like, starts fucking singing. She's
it's almost like she's like, what, a ventriloquist? Is that what it, where it's like you have like a puppet and like you're the one doing the talking but making it look like it's the puppet?
It's so real, because she's like, involuntarily my singing starts pouring out of my mouth. And she even says her body is programmed to listen to her mom. And so she's singing in the shop, and her mom's like, more emotion, more sadness, feel it, angel. And she's singing, and she's like, okay, stop, I don't want to burn you out. And she's like, so are you gonna do it? And Jeanette's like, I feel obligated because this is her dying wish.
Right, at this point.
And she's kind of like in her head, like, I don't think I have the range for this. But once they get back to their place, or Jeanette's place, her mom's back on it and she wants her to try singing it again.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeanette's like, wait, what happened to the whole, you don't want to wear me out?
Right.
And now her mom's got a response and she's like, well, we've got some time, hopefully. So I think we'll be okay.
Right.
And so Jeanette feels very upset with her mom for like saying it that way and making her feel guilty. And she's like at the same time feeling guilty that she feels upset at her mom for dying, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So she does try to start singing, and she gets to the part where she knew she wouldn't be able to sing, and she is basically, it's confirmed that it is out of her range. And her mom's like, well, you didn't do your little vocal warm-up. So Jeanette does 10 minutes of vocal warm-ups, tries it again, and it's still not working. And she says to her mom, it's out of my range. And her mom says, don't say that. And Jeanette says, I'm sorry. She said, you'll get there. I know you'll get there. You've got plenty of time to practice. Hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm just having flashback to the days of her auditioning. Like, oh my gosh, we're back. We're here again.
Yeah, so true. Her mom loves this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So her mom is basically continuing to manipulate her, goes so far as to remove the hat off her head so Jeanette can see her bald head. And she's like, you know what? As much as I thought I hated pretending, this fucking sucks. And I would rather go back to pretending.
Right.
So she clicks back to the beginning of the song and she starts again. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah, it's just really fucking... Ugh, God.
Her mom just likes to play with her at this point.
At this point. That's what it's giving.
She's just bored and it's like she loves to torture Jeanette.
Mm-hmm. In her own little way. But on chapter 47, we are in the car with... Well, no. So she is trying to direct her grandpa over speakerphone, like as she's watching out the
Grandpa.
window. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he's so cute.
I love Grandpa. And he's like, whoops. And so her grandpa and her mom are coming to visit her, and they're going to go eat somewhere. And she mentions how her unit in her complex faces Sunset Boulevard, looking over the bustling city. And she made sure that it wasn't facing the Nickelodeon studio where there's this huge billboard plastered for iCarly with her fake smile. And she's just like, I just don't even want to think about that. I don't want to look at it. Don't want to think about it. It's not happening.
There's so many people who would be like, look.
Right, I'm on a billboard. But she's like, God, I'm on a billboard.
Like, I never want to look at that.
Right. And so finally the grandpa and mom get to her unit. And she's like, where do you want to go? And she's like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. Please don't say it. And her mom says, Wendy's. And
why the Wendy's hate?
Right, I was like, I love fucking Wendy's. And she's like, sure. And so she even said there's nothing inherently wrong with Wendy's.
Period, Jeanette.
It's the principle behind her wanting to go to Wendy's. So basically, her mom is trying to make herself look humble in front of others, being like,
I wonder if she's back at church, because I bet she is.
yeah, she mentioned that she's back at church, like, and when she talks to other people, she wants to be able to say like, oh, we're so humble. Like, we just ate at Wendy's the other day. Like,
for my birthday dinner, I wanted to go to Wendy's.
Right.
And I have cancer. Feel bad for me.
Mm-hmm. All the things. And so they're in the car now. They're pulling out of the structure. She sees the iCarly poster and she's like trying to avoid looking at it. So she starts organizing the messy pockets in the back seat. And she pulls out these papers, a couple of receipts, and a copy of Sean Hannity's Conservative Victory. And Grandpa looks over his shoulder to see what she's doing. And she said, you want to borrow? He says, you want to borrow that? It's a very excellent read. And she's like, maybe. But really, she's like, no. Like, be so for real. And then her mom sees a billboard and she's like, there she is. And she like gets out her disposable camera. And Jeanette's like, you have no idea how many times she's taken a picture of this same billboard. It has not changed. She has millions of copies at this point.
Me, though. That's me as a mom. Like, if I'm passing the sign, like, what am I do? Gonna look at it and not take a picture of my fucking child on the billboard? Like, My kid's on a billboard.
I'm so weak. I get it. But as her mom's taking this picture, the camera drops out of her hand and hits the floor, and Jeanette stretches down to pick it up, and by the time she sits upright, her mom's convulsing, and she's horrified. And she tells her grandpa something's wrong, and they both look both ways to make sure the coast is clear before they cut across the street. They're in the Nickelodeon Studios parking lot. They're calling 911. By this point, her mom is frothing at the mouth, and she's like, I'm sure she's dying. And, you know, she's saying it's the most terrifying moment of her life.
Yeah.
And so the ambulance arrives. They put mom on a stretcher. She's still convulsing. And this is the rare time that she's grateful that people recognize her, because then they let her go on the ambulance with her mom. It's like, she's like, all right, this is the perk that I can get behind. And she grips her mom's hands and squeezes it and tells her everything's going to be okay. Sirens are blaring, and the driver pulls her right out of the parking lot. She's squeezing her dying mother's hand and watching froth spill out of her mouth, which, like, traumatic moment right here. And she says, we pass the poster again. I see my dead-eyed grin and my stupid fucking outdated hairstyle. My life is mocking me.
Life is so... Sometimes I'd be like, God... When they say God has a sense of humor, like... Yeah. Because, like, it's like, this isn't funny, really, in this moment for me. Mm-hmm. But if I ever wrote a story about my life... Like, this would be hilarious.
Right.
It'd be like
the
that.
irony behind it. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. We are on the last chapter for this episode, which is chapter 48.
All right, guys. So it's the day before Christmas Eve. It says that her mom has been in the ICU for a week, and that she had a seizure as a result of her brain tumor. And apparently this is regular, and... You know, it doesn't make it any less horrific, but the doctor's like, this isn't irregular. But I guess that's good. I don't.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, this is bad, but it's also normal.
Yeah. So great. Awesome. Thanks, Doc. All of her brothers are there. Her grandpa and her grandma are there, and they're all just kind of quiet. And Jeanette's like, so do y'all want to eat? She's like, I'm going to go get some Burger King. Do y'all want anything? And they all can't eat right now because they're just too, like, stressed. And she says, I envy their sadness. I envy that their sadness and stress translate to a lack of hunger. She's like, look, I'm hungry. So she does go to Burger King. She orders her Whopper and her fries and her icy and a few other things to go with it. And she orders and eats very quickly, and she feels out of control as this is all happening. And her stomach feels really, like, just overwhelmed after this, because she did just, like, scarf down, like, a lot of food. And at this point, we get to a new level of eating disorder. And she says she considers making herself throw up. She said she's heard about this, but she's never done it. And
bulimia.
She's like, bulimia. Right. A friend to anorexia. Bulimia. She's like, look, this seems like a good moment. And so she gets back to the hospital and, like, runs to the bathroom, gets on the bathroom floor, tries to make herself throw up, and she feels like a failure because she can't. She's like, okay, I give up. I'm a failure at not eating, and I'm a failure at getting rid of the food that I do eat. So she just feels like a double failure right now. And so when she gets back, nobody's in the waiting room, and it turns out her mom is woken up, and they're in the room with her mom. So she takes her mom's hand immediately, and she's like feeling her mom's hand. She's like, I love how they feel. And she, just like having a little moment. And then her mom turns to her feebly and, of course, body shames her. She said, the boys said you stopped at Burger King. You don't need to be eating that stuff. A lot of grams of fat in a Whopper. And Jeanette's like so happy, honestly, to hear this. She's like, a tear is falling down her cheek. She's like, Mom's going to live. For now, at least, she is going to live. And she's like, I know, Mom. I did get it without mayo. And her mom sighs, and she's like, still.
And that's where we end today, you guys. It's just Ooh, it's getting really intense. And also, I don't know if anybody's noticed, because I just noticed we're about halfway through this season and this book.
Wow.
We've made a very large dent.
We have.
We're working our way through here. And of course, we have some story questions to go over. Thank you to everyone who participated. We did a little callback to last week and asked if anybody had any first date stories. And we did get a couple, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So one person said it was outside their Spanish class in 10th grade.
Aww,
He was
the hallway.
Right, the hallways. They say he was essentially a "Where is my kiss" guy in that moment, instead of a "Where is my hug?" Right? It just feels so cringy.
Guys, I'm gonna post this fucking.
Now I was about to say, now you have to do your first date story because
me?
Yeah, I mean not your first date,
My
first
first
kiss,
kiss?
because you said if other people did it, that you would do it.
No.
Yeah.
I said I'd share one because I don't remember my first one.
All right.
I don't know.
We're gonna talk about it later.
Okay.
And somebody else said, if I can scroll down to it, hello.
Hi.
Where is it? Oh, they said it was in middle school, their middle school crush in their basement.
Aww.
They say I was so nervous, I gave him a peck, then ran and hid, which is just like so
That's
sweet
cute.
and innocent.
I like that.
Yes. And okay, so the next question, you want to read that?
All right, next question. Were you ever approached sexually by older adults once you turned 18?
And this was the response we got.
Oh, God. Okay, guys. It says yes. Honestly, starting around 12 by men in college or even older than my father.
Which,
gross. I had a feeling. 18 is like...
I mean, I thought of the song.
Not as bad, I guess.
Yeah, it's like that Lil Wayne song where he literally says, when you turn 18, holler at me, Miley Cyrus.
I mean, everybody... That is such a weird part of culture that people, like when the Olsen twins were growing up, there were countdowns of like when these bitches are going to turn 18 and now we can all fuck them. And like how I was actually watching like this podcast interview because I've been like trying to learn more about these like teen stars and stuff. So there's one that the girl from like Even Stevens has.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's good. But she mentions like her mom had a conversation with her of like, once you turn 18, people on set may start treating you differently because I guess they're all waiting like this dude was like when Jeanette turned 18.
It's just gross. Like,
so yeah,
there's so much.
It's so upsetting.
But the next question, which is the last question we have, is did you have a healthy relationship with food growing up? And one response says no. Between being a Latina ballerina in the Deep South and a fat phobic family, it was very toxic.
That sounds... Because
I was just about to say, I talked about dance culture.
I don't know much about like what's going on in the Latina culture.
I think it's a thing. I mean, I think it's a thing in every culture. It just looks different.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
That's real.
And another one, they sent in multiple responses, but was always grandma... Also, let me read this. Okay, they said, my parents are Caribbean, so my relationship around food comes from a scarcity mindset. They also said, always eat until the plate is clean, eat what is served, even if you don't like it. And also, grandma always praised me for eating a lot, but shame my larger cousin, not healthy. And I relate to all of them.
Yeah.
Where it's like, finish your food.
You have to.
Yeah. Or like, it's like, you're not going to get anything else if you don't eat this.
Oh, right. Or
that
you can starve.
Or you can starve. Right. All the things. It's just very unhealthy and toxic.
But then if you gain too much weight from eating everything on your plate, now it's another problem.
An issue. Right.
So it's like people just want something to say. Ultimately.
At the end of the day,
but
that's
as a kid, it's
traumatic.
It is.
Because you're like, what the fuck do I do? Because it's like, there is no right answer here.
Yeah, it's just like, don't comment.
Right. Just do it and just try to get through, basically. But again, thank you for everybody who participated in our stories. Be sure to follow us on Instagram if you are not to participate. And yeah, this has been another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
Bye, y'all.